Okay, so let's take a look at Indigo Smith. So this was the packet I handed out last week. Really what's being entered is her gross wages, the federal income tax that was withheld, and her student loan interest. And actually it looks like her employer is IBM. It looks like her employer is IBM, so let's call her she's not a nurse, she's a software engineer. So I'm going to transfer her information to the tax return. Don't forget to put single up here, right? At the top, she's single. This is really important too, this full year health care coverage. You guys see what I'm pointing at over here? If you don't have full year health care coverage, either individually or through your folks or through your employer, this is the last year where there'll be a part year penalty. So this is very important that you say that there's full year health care coverage. Here's her address. Saguaro Circle. Shoto. I will tell you, this is actually more and more the kinds of W-2s you see in Montana where people are living here, but their employer is out of state and they work digitally. I mean, I can guarantee you didn't see W-2s like this floating around Missoula 10 years ago. And now they're all over. Okay, so I don't think anything else on this page. Where am I at here? Occupation, she's a software engineer. Okay, and don't forget her social security number. Okay, so her wages are $87,980. And then I'm going to just read down. She's got no interest, no dividends. She didn't take any money from an IRA. She didn't get any Social Security benefits. Total income, it tells me to add lines 1 through 5. And then it says, before I fill this in, add any amount from Schedule 1, line 22. Well, let's go see if we have a number on Schedule 1, line 22. Don't forget to put her name back up here. Indigo Smith. Social Security 418-887948. And this is a whole bunch of stuff that it looks like I have to add to her income. Do I have anything I need to add to her income? No. Really, the only thing on here that you guys probably are even familiar with would be like if you have rental real estate or a farm or unemployment or self-employed. So there's 0 on line 22. Do you see anything down here on the bottom of things I might subtract from income? Yeah, right here. And the ones that I kind of talked about was IRA deduction, health savings account, student loan interest. If you're a K through 12 teacher, those are really the biggies. So now I need to go find on here, how much was her student loan interest? Well, what do I do with that outstanding principal? What does that mean? That's how much she still owes, right? Does that go on the tax return? No. How much do I put on? That's $752. That was her interest. That's what she gets to deduct, right? Everyone with me? So that goes on line 33. Like no pennies. And then it tells me to do what with that number? take it down to line 36. Add lines 23 through 35, right? And again, I'm just reading. Where does that number go? There's no number on line 22, so I get to put in a 0. But what it tells me here, let's just finish this off. Total income, add lines 1 through 5, add any amount from Schedule 1. Well, there wasn't any number in there, so I'm just adding up lines 1 through 5, so it's the same number, right? Then on that next line, it says, if you have no adjustments to income, enter the amount from line 6. So can I just pull that down? No, because I do have an adjustment to income. I have a subtraction. Otherwise, subtract Schedule 1, line 36 from line 6. So do that math and enter that number in line 7. Calculator's on my phone here. 87,980 minus, how much was that? 752? So my AGI is 87,228. Okay, you guys should now be able to get down to line 10, 13, and 15. You should be able actually to kind of finish that top part now. And you might need to pull up Moodle to get your tax rates. You probably will need to pull that PowerPoint up, otherwise how are you going to get the tax brackets? And so those of you that are listening, I'm going to give about another 5 minutes of dead space to finish this, and then we're going to do one more example and go through the homework. So these are items of income, right? Because when you get to line 6, it says that line 1 through 5.
Okay.
So that's a deduction. You don't want that as income.
Right.
That's the opposite. So if they're interested, you invest in municipal bonds, so you buy city or county or state bonds. That's what you're doing.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
That's like a thing you didn't ask that for everybody.
Yeah.
That's
I
like
figured
getting
it
into
was
the
something.
weeds. No. Yeah, you don't have a number in 111. So I think you're left, oh, this is the tax?
Yeah.
Yep. Gotcha. So, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anybody else need me to take a look? Okay. Okay, now so you've got line 10, that's your TI. Now you've got calculated tax. And you're going to do that from the table. But the book is not, it does not have that accurate table. You have to use the PowerPoint for the tax rates. The book has got like 2014 tax schedules. Yeah. And then you're just going to go on that schedule that we practiced on before. Okay, so blow that up. Right. So for taxable income, you're just going to write out an algebraic statement, yeah? Taxable income. $75,228. So now on the tax, we have to go to slide 5, right? And her tax, what was that number, Isaiah, 4423?
On the tax bracket?
Yeah.
Yep, 445350, so I guess you found out.
4454 plus 22% of the amount over what?
It goes all 15.
So if you read that for
38,750.
38,750?
700.
38,7. Okay. So on slide 5, which is the tax rates for 2018, I'm taking her taxable income to that schedule, right? 75,228 is her TI. And it tells me right there on that schedule that her tax equals, and I just rounded this up, her tax equals $4,454 plus 22% of the excess over some number. And they tell us 38,700. Excess of what? Excess of TI. So now it's just a matter of, and write the formula out like this. It's always going to look like this. They give us tax equals some number plus a percentage of the excess over another number. They're all going to look like that.
How come the table's different than this one? You go to the tax tables, it's $10.
I can't answer that. That's another glitch. I've seen that too on my tax returns.
Yeah.
This tax law was passed through, it's a 1900-page law. It was passed through Congress in 72 hours. It is ludicrous. There's tons of glitches.
Must be the percentage must be carried out.
Oh, the brackets just aren't correct. They don't align. I mean, there's a million things like that that fall through the cracks.
And so that number that we get will be on line 11.
So let's do the math. 75,228 minus 38,700 equals times 22%. So I think this right here gives you 8,036. So 4454 plus, ooh, already you can tell, do you have good or bad news for Indigo? Not great news, because I can look at her W-2 and see that her tax is $12,490. How much did she pay in? Holy crap, this is not the call you want to make.
It's got something wrong with the W-4 or whatever she's claiming.
This is happening to people under this tax act.
Oh.
The brackets adjusted in February, and people were advised to change their W-4s. This kind of stuff is happening all the time. All my tax practitioner blogs are just alive with this kind of thing.
Have you noticed any correlation between income level and?
It's all over the place. So I'm sorry, what was the question? What line does it go on? Yeah, right here. We're right here. Tax, 12,490. We don't have any child tax credit because she has no dependents. Then it tells me subtract 12 from 11. Same number. If you have other taxes, you need to fill out Schedule 4. We don't even know what that is. We're not worrying about it. Total tax, add 13 and 14. Line 16, how much federal income tax did she have withheld?
6415.
So now I got to go back to her W-2, and I can see she only paid in $6,415. How much state income tax did she pay in? $4,005. You also would be that, and see, that's another indicator. You would also be filling out one of these for Montana, but we just don't really have time to go into that. But you would have to do a whole separate tax return for Montana. So the 6415 So nothing on line 17. This is where you would put your earned income credit or your education credit, or yeah, there's very few of them that are refundable. So her total payments were $64.15. Therefore, am I completing line 21 or line 22? Line 22. And I can tell you we're not going to go into this either, but she's going to have a penalty because she's underpaid so grossly. So not only is she going to owe the tax, she's going to have probably a $200-300 penalty.
If you can afford to pay back the price, how are they penalized?
Because the rest of us, first off, is that how the government's budget works? Everybody dumps a bunch of money in there in February or March? No. You need a constant stream of revenue coming in as the government because for obvious reasons.
Theoretically, they would make money if you were paying earlier because it's gaining interest, I would guess.
The best tax return in the world is you owe nothing, you get no refund. That's the best. My game, if I'm a good tax accountant, I get you as close as I can to zero every year. Unless you're somebody that says, I really want $4,000 back a year. There's no way I'm ever going to buy a new car, take a vacation, or move, or whatever. Then I can jack your W-4 around, get you less money on your paychecks, and get you back a $4,000 tax return. But that's not really smart planning because you don't get any interest on that money all year. Okay, so how much does she owe? $12,490 is her tax bill. And she paid in $64.15. She has got a bill of $6,075, and again, she is going to have a number in here for estimated tax penalty. Yes, sir.
So when you say change around your W-4, do you mean like just the, what do you like?
How many allowances you have? Like most of us, or most of you guys that don't have kids, when you get a job, you get a W-4 to fill out, and you either put 0 or 1. Right? If you put 0 allowances, they're going to take what, more or less tax out? More. It's counterintuitive, but that means I'm not claiming any dependents. So if you put 0, they're going to take out a bunch of money, and you may get a little bit back. If you put 1, and you're a student, and you've got a couple W-2s, a summer job, part-time gig while you're in school, blah, 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 you may owe. So I mean, I always told my kids to put 0, because they'd rather err on the side of getting it back, because I guarantee at that stage of their life, if they owed money, they'd be like, Mom, I owe money. So that sucks. For me.
I think it's kind of a savings tool for younger people because most banks won't pay you interest on the little bit of money you put away unless you're really good at investing. So if you're claiming 0 and you get a few $100s back, that's probably money you would have spent anyway.
Absolutely.
That's just my own perspective.
No, absolutely. I always told my kids, I'll tell any young person, particularly, because if they have a bunch of little W-2s and put 1, they could owe. Yeah, no, it's a 0. But that's not construed to be tax advice.
Where did you get the $4,454 for the tax liability again?
I read this from the table. It said the tax equals $44.54 plus this number. So then I added them both together and got that. That's from slide number 5 on Google in the PowerPoint.
On the test, will we have the tax rates provided for us?
Absolutely. As well as the present value, future value tables. All right, let's pop ahead because as always, this is flying by. Let's take a look at your homework, and then if we don't have time to go through the next one that I'm handing out, which we may or may not, I will do it and post the results. So I'm passing out another tax return W-2. This gal has 2 W-2s and then a student loan form on the back. And then here's another set of tax.
But you only use one 1040 for 2 W-2s?
Oh, sure. I could have 8 jobs. I just have to add everything together.
Right.
And these are real W-2s. They're not the ones that I just typed up like I did for Wester Bucket.
You can go back throughout the year and change your W-4 anytime.
You can change it any point in time. Let me just, you can, whenever you want. Let me just ask you guys, would you rather that we do another tax return together and then I just open up the solutions for what you did for today? because you had to do number 1, 2, and 4 for today, chapter 3. I can just open those solutions up and you can check your own work. And then we can do another one of these together. Should we do that with our last 20 minutes? Okay. All right, I'm just going to give you time to look at them. If you're listening, and give me a second and I'll put the W-2s in front of you. This right here, if you're listening and you're not in class today and you want to practice, go to irs.gov and go under Forms and Publications. And the two things that you're going to need to print or have access to is a 1040 and a Schedule 1. And you'll see a search bar that you just put those in, and you should be able to get those. Make sure they're 2018. Yeah, of course. Oh, of course. Do you want to?
Yeah. I mean, it's just saving me 10, 20 cents.
This is a personal finance class. Okay, did everybody get the W-2s? I think so. I think let's do that. But you've got to be aware now, you've got to add numbers together because you've got 2 jobs.
I went ahead and did it.
All right. Thank you. I'll record it. Right, so Ella worked for Oracle Inc. in Great Falls, and then she worked for the Great Northern, and then she's got a ginormous student loan. Wow. Okay. You wouldn't know this, but I've got to tell you something. You can't take more than $2,500 in student loan interest. That's just the law. So I didn't catch that, I'm sorry. And I won't give you this. And you would have no way of knowing this unless I told you. The law says the most you can take is $2,500. I'm telling you that. Her student loan interest was $5,400. She's got about $100,000 in debt. And the law says no matter how big your student loans are, the most you can take in a year is $2,500 deduction.
You want us to change to that?
Yes, please. I mean, no, it's not so much you change that, as that's just what goes on the form.
Yeah.
I won't give you that on the exam. I'll give you something under $2,500. It's either somebody, I've got a couple clients who got an undergrad in, fill in the blank, anthropology, and has a normal student loan of 30, 35, and then it's like, oh shit, I can't make a living in anthropology. I'm going to go back and be a behavioral specialist for autism, or I'm going to get my special ed degree, or my nursing degree, and there's another 35 or 40.
Yeah.
So they're a young person sitting with a good job, but $80,000 of debt.
Twice the education. What's the interest rate on a student loan?
It depends whether it's subsidized or unsubsidized. If you're low income, the rate's usually around 4 or 5.
Yeah,
Just like the loans my kids had to take out, they took our income into consideration, so they were
Yeah.
being subsidized.
Oh,
And I think they're like 9% on their student loans. Yeah. I mean, it's just out of control. I mean, we're in that spot as a argument. Doesn't work for a nonprofit. I work here, write out checks for 2 people. But we made way too much.
Yeah.
Any
kind of subsidy, yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, that
But-
explains why it would be $5,000.
but we're lucky in that, I can do this for extra money, and
Yeah.
but lots of people don't have that option. You got a job and that's what you got.
Yeah, if you're going to switch careers, go into something that takes money.
Oh.
So,
I know, seriously.
unless you're really dedicated.
You bet. Let me just say something real quick here. So if you're watching, these are Ella's two W-2s. And I'm going to try and get it so you can see them both at the same time. But in this situation, obviously, you can't just pick up one number and take it straight to the 1040. You've got to add things together. You had a question?
Are we supposed to check the box about full year health care coverage?
You have to, yeah. Otherwise, you're going to get a bazillion errors. What did you think? No, that's not right. Let's see. God, I've got a million things up here.
When the social security wages and wages are different, is that, how is that accounted for?
That does not impact what's taxable for federal income tax.
What should we put for her, deduction, just the number provided, or?
So, again, I apologize for that. The law says no matter how much your student loans are, you can never take more than $2,500.
If you have multiple occupations for the occupation bar, do you put both of them? Or
No, I always choose whatever they're doing most recently. And it looks like she was waiting tables, and then she got a job with Oracle, which is a tech company. So again, I'd probably say like IT technician or something. And for our purposes, you guys, everyone that I'm going to test you on is just going to be single. We're not going to be doing anything different. It's just going to be super straightforward. Yes, sir.
For one of her W-2s, her wages and compensation is lower than the Social Security and Medicare wages.
Right. And I will tell you that's because she contributes some money to a 401k. You do. It's in box 12A, but that's a little bit beyond our scope. So we're just using box 1 for gross income.
Is it Schedule 3 if you contribute to IRA?
So an IRA is an individual plan.
401k.
A 401k comes through your work, so that's reflected on the W-2.
Okay.
And that's why these two numbers are different for her.
So is that accounted for?
It's accounted for in there, and she's only paying income tax on this number, which is smaller than these two numbers. Really good questions, you guys. Is that what CODIS is? I've never heard of it either. It's, I don't even know, I redacted this from some client. They must work for maybe a governmental agency
It
or
says it saves money for employers don't have to pay administrative costs under the 401.
I bet you it's like a 401k for a small business.
Must be good.
That's probably what, I bet, you know what, I bet you that's code for a simple.
Probably so for them.
So what did you guys get for AGI? What do you think her AGI is? Did you get 54,255? Great. And you can see here I showed you how I got line 1. I added her gross wages together. I carried it down here. There was no additions on Schedule 1, but we did have student loan interest. She has a really big 1098E. Her student loan interest was $5,455, and you would have no way of looking this up or knowing this. I just told you the most the law allows you to take is $2,500. So instead of putting that huge amount in there, I put $2,500, which is still plenty. And then I'm just following the instructions. If she has any subtractions, you have to subtract Schedule 1, line 36 from line 6, and so I did that. And now I'm going to go pull up my tax table. And she's in the same 22% bracket, isn't she? Oh no, I've got to take the, sorry, the standard deduction comes off there. She still is in the 22%.
If pennies don't matter, then why did the tax bill have?
I don't know. That's kind of silly. I can just blame everything on Congress that I don't know the answer to. $42,255 minus 38,700 times 0.22 equals Nope. Did you get $5,236? Where am I picking up the amount that she paid in then? I have to go back to the W-2s, don't I? So line 16, let's go look at our W-2s and figure out how much she paid in. On her Great Northern job, she paid in $1,673, right? So $1,673. Plus, on her Oracle, she's going to be darn near even Steven. This is a great tax return. $37.21, right? Yeah, this is the best of all worlds. It's super close, but she's getting money back. Okay, now let's finish this off. Once I figure out she's getting $158 back, you have two options. The person can either get the check or the electronic deposit back, or they can tell the government, hey, just hold on to that and apply that to my next year's tax return. Why would you ever do that? You don't need it. I don't need money. You make estimated payments, and so you're just rolling it into next year's payments. You wouldn't gain any interest on it.
Wouldn't it be better to take that money and invest it?
Yeah, it would. So, what most of my clients do, because it cuts the time down by about 3 to 4 weeks, is then we'd fill in lines 20B, 20C, and 20D, and they would just have it automatically deposited in their account. But like I've got some older clients or some paranoid clients who are like, oh, I'm not giving you my checking account number. I'm like, okay, you can wait for a paper check. It's just going to take about 8 weeks instead of 3.5. That's fine. And some people are just like that, so that's cool.
So 8888, is that for the rolling over to the next year's?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So you have to print that out too if you wanted to do that.
You would.
Okay.
Actually, I'm not sure that that's the right number. I'd have to look at that. I don't want it applied. I want it refunded.
So 20A, you would say 0 if you didn't want it.
No, if you want it applied forward to the next year, it's on line 21. This means send me a check.
Yeah.
This means I've got a number that I want the IRS to put it straight into my checking account. And it's going to be way shorter time period. And then before you send it in, once you've done all this, what do you have to make sure you got to go do? Sign it. Right?
That's it on that?
Well, no, I mean, I didn't do all this because I just didn't feel like it. But yours would be all completed. Okay. Go ahead. Please.
We could know, like, maybe some of the stuff we're going to need to know for the test.
You're going to need to read a pay stub and do exactly what we did in those two pay stubs. You're going to need to do exactly what we practiced today. You're going to need to do present value, future value. I think those are the four like numerical problems: PVFD, tax return, pay stub, and then really all the multiple choice and true and false are off of the lectures and the PowerPoints. It'll take you and you have to do a net worth or a cash flow on Excel and submit it to Moodle. Is everybody clear on how to save a file and submit it to Moodle?
So could you repeat the whole way? Yeah, can you say what?
Okay, you're going to need to read a pay stub, just like what we did, the percentages and the right, like we practiced. You're going to need to do a 1040 in Schedule 1, or part of it. I've really only got 80 minutes to test you, so I mean I've got it. You're going to need to do some future value and present value, and I'll give you the tables. What was the fourth thing I just said? You're going to need to either do a net worth or a cash flow on Excel and submit it to Moodle. I'll open a link for the exam. And then there's, probably 30 true, false, and multiple choice that are directly from the slides and or the lectures. One more time.
Scantron.
No, you don't need anything other than I would give you early. It will take you the full 80 minutes, and you will want to keep moving. And remember, you can't use your phone for a calculator. Remember that? You may not use your phone for a calculator for obvious reasons. Or your computer. I hate that I have to say that. You've got to go buy a $10 calculator. Go ahead.
We're on Excel.
Yeah. It's just so effing tricky anymore with, like, you could be talking to a group chat of the whole class,
On my phone, I still don't use it.
I'll show you. I'll show you. Bring up Moodle and I'll show you how to do it.